Hi, I'm Chuck Girard, and I'm the clinic coordinator of Whitebird. In some ways, Whitebird's in a unique position because we're working with some of the folks that have been most negatively affected by poverty and the economy, folks that are homeless or just very, very poor and going, month to month or day to day. And what we're seeing is folks that have had very little hope up until recently. And they're suddenly finding there's a place where they can go where it's legal to be, in some cases for the first time in years. And they're surrounded by people that are watching out for their safety and providing them with food and medical care. People are still coming to us for services because Occupy is not doing the services that I mentioned. They're not doing intensive medical or dental care or mental health or drug treatment. But they are being supported and they are being cared about, and they're having a very different experience as a result of that.
Hi, I'm Dan Bryant, pastor of First Christian Church here. In spite of being told for months to prepare for record numbers of homeless on the street who need the services of the Egan Warming Center, I fully expect that our numbers will actually be down because they were the first 2 nights we were open. We had less than we had last year. Why? Because there are so many homeless that have found very adequate housing, at least in comparisons to what they had before, at Occupy Eugene. And I went by to visit the camp this morning, very well organized, had a wonderful chat with a young man who said that, yeah, he'd been living down at the river, and now he had this site here at Occupy Eugene. It was much safer, more secure. It enabled him to go out and to job hunt. He was just truly excited.
Some of these folks would walk all night because they were afraid to lie down because they were vulnerable. And now they're actually able to sleep at night. And I think that's very telling. In terms of health, obviously, it would be nice if they weren't in the mud and were on some solid ground and had electricity and heat and light and other things that most of us take for granted. But it makes no sense to me to try and dismantle the camp unless the city comes up with an alternative that's viable or better. In the middle of winter, it seems ridiculous to take this thing apart right now.
I have seen and I have encountered what Occupy Eugene has enabled them to do is to get their own stuff in order to help them become more stable. If you just think about it, if you're living on the street, you've got to spend most of your time and effort just organizing to be able to have a place to stay, and you're just in survival mode.
So unless there's a better resource, I think that Occupy should not only be left where it is, but actually be supported in doing what it's trying to accomplish.
This is precisely, again, one of the things that Occupy Eugene is doing is it's tapped into a resource of folk who want to do something for those who do not have a place to live, for whom the Eugene mission does not work. So there's a huge need there, and it's being met with people who are willing to step up to help meet that need. And I think now the challenge for us is to find a way that we can work with, as a whole community to make that happen.
At the same time, the purpose of the movement is to try and change what's going on in this nation and to create equity and consideration and close the gap between the richest and the poorest. And I think that those are really worthy and valuable goals, and more of us need to get on board.
That we have to look at those issues and we have to consider how we share the wealth. Doesn't mean that everyone gets an equal amount, but everyone should get enough. That is the fundamental issue that we need to address, and I'm thrilled that Occupy Eugene has now, and the whole Occupy movement has done this in a way, has lifted this up for our whole nation to struggle with, because I've been proclaiming this for 20 years and haven't gotten much, treads. So here's a group that's doing that, and I say, right on. May not agree with all of the solutions or all of the ideas promoted, but the basic message there that we have to figure out a new way of how we share the wealth in this country is absolutely right.
I was heartened early on with the Occupy movement when several key city officials said we could actually be showing a model demonstration of how the Occupy movement could interact with the city. And I hope they remember that a month and a half later and stand by that and make this work, because we have that potential right here.